Hi, my name is Ashton Bott, and this is my case study number 3. So, the client that I've been discussing for the last 2 assignments is a 5-year-old male who has a diagnosis of ASD. He was diagnosed in 2022 and began receiving in-center treatment 2 months after the diagnosis. When he started, he used no mands and had a high behavior frequency of biting and scratching. Therefore, we began with errorless compliance training for the first 6 to 7 months that he began, and then slowly phased him into DTT. He has no other diagnoses that are known. The main behavior that we targeted was biting, as he was biting very frequently, to the extent in which we had to provide our staff with arm guards in order to keep them safe and not have to send them to urgent care. With these arm guards, the biting did not decrease at all, therefore we had to go about a plan of intervention. Biting can be defined as any instance of the client closing their mouth on themselves or another person. An example, the demand is placed and the client bites the technician. A non-example would be the client is eating food. The intervention that we decided on after doing an FBA and taking ABC data was to prompt functional communication. For our antecedent strategies for this intervention, we decided to use first then statements, a schedule for the day, and making sure to keep appropriate space from the client to ensure that biting was not easily accessible. For the replacement behaviors that we were teaching, we taught requesting for more time or saying no thank you as that functional communication. Our consequence strategies were high praise and providing a break when it was requested, and then prompting functional communication when the client was engaging in behaviors. Through our FBA and our ABC data, we had realized that the function of the biting was to gain escape from tasks or demands that were placed. Therefore, these interventions became in place. After the BCBA and I decided on this intervention, we also had to train some staff on that. It's really important that all of the staff in the entire building are aware of what the plan is in place, as we do have social skills throughout the day where maybe his normal team is not with him at all times. So we did hold an all-staff meeting to discuss the intervention and how we wanted staff to respond in those situations. We also held a team meeting for his team specifically, which is about 7 people. In this team meeting, we reviewed antecedents, replacement behaviors, what functional communication training is, and the consequences that were relevant to the intervention. We did this via modeling, and we kind of did it with each person and modeled multiple different situations and how the staff should respond in each situation. We also reviewed the frequency data collection method, as that is the collection method that we chose for the biting. In order to support the staff, the BCBA was present for the first hour of each session when the new intervention became in place for about a week. This was to ensure that the staff felt comfortable implementing the intervention and if they needed any feedback in the moment that they were receiving it, rather than receiving it after a full session. Following the first week of correct implementation, we still provided weekly team meetings for about 3 weeks to discuss progress, things we noticed that were working, things that we noticed that we needed to change, and just to make sure everybody was on the same page. We also held individual meetings if that feedback was needed for a specific person as well that we had noticed during supervision time. And we also had the BCBA and case manager there to provide backup if necessary during very intense behaviors and also just during the supervision time as well. In order to measure the validity, we ensured that we provided clear definitions for what biting was and also clear definitions for how to handle those escape-based function of behaviors. We also made sure to have clear data collection expectations. We had an IRT in so that if the behavior happened and then it did not happen again for 10 seconds, it would count as a new behavior. This was relevant as sometimes during high intensity problem behavior of biting, it was happening many times and to multiple different people, and sometimes it was very difficult for technicians to be able to count while also trying to provide safety for themselves and the client. We made sure to train the staff appropriately, and we also checked on data during supervision. This was done by checking past data, but we also tracked data while we were supervising to ensure that the data was the same throughout from the staff that was with the client and the BCBA or myself, the case manager that was supervising. That also kind of goes into the measuring of integrity. This was the only way that we measured integrity in this situation, is that we took data while staff was running a session as well to ensure that it was being taken correctly. This is kind of how we realized that the data wasn't always easily taken during high frequency bites or high frequency moments of aggressive behaviors, and kind of changed our definitions to make sure that the integrity was still there.